Hello everyone, welcome back to Yoga by Stephanie Mia. Today's routine is all about trying new poses in yoga and having fun with it. So when you're ready, let's get started. So as the title suggests, today is going to be yoga with a twist. So the first thing we're going to do to get this practice started is come into stand at the back of your mat. Cross your right leg over your left leg and come into your forward fold. Take your time here. You may need to bend the legs to access this pose. And once you do that, once you find your end range, you can go ahead and bend and straighten the legs as you go. Go at your own pace and really try to get your chest as close to your legs as possible. Bend the knees once more and then take it up to bring your arms up overhead. We are going to stretch our torso to the right by using our right hand to grab our left hand and bumping our hips to the left. And we repeat that by grabbing our right hand with our left and bumping our hips to the right. Good job. Uncross the legs as we take it to the other side. So we're going to bring our left leg to cross over our right leg. To help us balance, let's squeeze the knees together and ground through all corners of the feet. Arms come up overhead and we take it down by our sides. Once more, arms come up. This time, let's bend at the hips and come into our forward fold. Good job. Just as we did before, you may need to have a slight bend in your knee, because this is a very deep stretch in forward fold. Here we're going to have a nice generous bend in the knees and then straighten. One more time, bend those knees and straighten. Good job. Arms come up and overhead once again. And this time we're going to stretch to the left first, bumping the hips to the right. And reverse it, stretching to the right and bumping the hips to the left. Amazing job. Arms come down. We're still keeping our legs crossed as we clasp our hands behind our back and come into a nice deep back bend. Here we are opening up through the chest as our head faces towards the sky. And when you're ready, uncross those legs and come out of that nice back bend. Arms come up overhead once again. And we bring the palms to the heart, prayer pose. Here we take it straight into our forward fold as we plant the palms and walk them out into our first plank, and we send the hips up and back into downward facing dog. Come onto your tippy toes and really stretch through that shoulder girdle, enjoying this stretch and finding your center here. We're gonna reach the heels towards the back of the mat and pedal the legs for 4. Bend the left leg, then bend the right. Bend the left again. Keeping an open mind, we're going to turn to the left side, bearing our weight on our left arm and the left edge of our feet. We're going to bring our right leg to cross over our left leg, bearing some weight on our tippy toes just to keep our balance. And then we're going to smoothly twist to the other side. Using both arms to keep your balance, you're going to twist until you're able to straighten that right leg, bearing the weight on the sharp edge of your feet, and bring the left leg over to stand on your tippy toes and bear some weight as well. Take a deep breath and turn back into your plank as you smoothly send your hips up and back, shooting your heels down so you have a strong stance in your downward facing dog. Bend the knees generously and come into tabletop. From here, we're going to come into another twist called cow face in yoga. Bring your right knee to the center of the mat and then bring your left knee to hug that right knee in place as you send your hips back and try to bring your bottom to sit on the mat. You may need to scooch your legs over just so you can have a place for you to rest your hips, and then as much as possible rest your forehead against your knee. Of course, this pose depends on how much flexibility you have in your knees as well as your hips, so you may not be able to sit all the way down, but just attempting this pose already has so many benefits. When you're ready, we're going to place our arms behind us and use that momentum to really lift up out of this pose, and we will reverse on the other side. So bring that left leg back and the right knee forward as we prepare ourselves to switch to the other side. bring that left leg forward and that right knee back as we hug the right knee close to our left leg. Sit back on your hips once again and really get comfortable in this pose. Your arms can either rest behind you or in front of you, and drop your head, closing your eyes, breathing in. I know this may feel a bit uncomfortable for some, but just breathe through it, and the more you practice, the more that your body will get used to this, and you will of course see the benefits from this practice. When you're ready, use your arms to give you the necessary momentum to come back into tabletop. Unravel your legs, curl the toes under, and send the hips up and back into your downward facing dog. When you're here, send your right leg up into your three-legged dog. Square the shoulders, engage the abs, engage the glutes. And you're here for one more second, then bend that right leg as if you're going to kiss your nose with your knee. Step up into your high lunge. When you're ready, you're going to lift up using your core and twist towards that right leg. Open up through the chest, find your balance, and sink a little deeper into this high lunge with a twist. Bring that right hand to rest on that left leg. Sink a little deeper in this lunge, almost as if it's a peaceful warrior kind of variation. Keep the chest open throughout this movement. Come to place your palm on the mat and twist towards that right leg. When you're ready, drop that hip down, come onto the left edge of that foot, and straighten the arm as if you're trying to reach your toes with your arms. Look towards that leg and unravel. Come into the top of your feet and then the balls of your feet. Stay in that low lunge. And when you're ready, you're going to lift back up into a strong warrior two. Move the leg diagonally and open up the arms into your warrior two. The front leg remains bent and we come into a peaceful warrior. Chest open, looking towards the sky. Deep breath in. Pivot the arms, pivot that back leg. You're back into your high lunge, arms overhead, and we're going to take it back down. Plant the palms. Send that right leg back, and we're back into our downward facing dog. Just for a moment, and then we bend our legs back into tabletop, uncurl the toes, send the hips back, and we take a really nice served rest in child's pose. By this time, our hearts start to be pumping, so let's just try to find our regular rhythm, breathing deeply in and out. Couple more times in and out and in and out. Good job. Slowly we're gonna lift our head up, remain seated on our heels, keep our eyes closed for just 1 second, and then we move into tabletop. Curl the toes under and send the hips up and back. You're going to move straight into lifting that left leg. We're going to take it to the other side. Abs engaged, shoulders squared. Bend that left leg and kiss your knee with your nose, stepping up into your high lunge. Just as we did on the other side, we're going to bring the arms up and open and twist towards that left leg. Nice deep bend in the front leg as we stretch through the hip flexor on the back leg. We're going to come into that peaceful warrior variation once again, resting our left hand on our right leg. Pivot the arms, come back, place that right palm on the mat as we twist towards the left leg, opening up through that chest. And then we're going to drop the hips, coming onto the top of our feet, and we move our arm as if we're trying to reach our toes with our arms. Stretch through, lengthen through, twist towards that left leg, really deepen that twist, dropping that hip as much as possible, and then coming back. Curl the toes under, pivot diagonally on that back leg as we open up into warrior two. Nice job. And here we send it back into peaceful warrior, keeping a bend in that front leg. We're going to hold this for 1 more second, and then we're going to go ahead and straighten both legs, coming into a wide stance. So heel toe the legs together to a comfortable distance, not too close at all. We're gonna hinge at the hips, turning it forward into a wide leg forward fold. We're gonna use our right hand to grab our left leg, and then our left hand to grab our right leg, and we twist our torso so our chest is facing directly in front of us, or that is the aim. Breathe here, and then we're gonna switch it to the other side, keeping your left hand on your right leg. You're gonna switch and bring your right hand to your left leg. One side may be more open than the other side. That's completely fine. Just enjoy the nice deep twist. In keeping with today's theme, of course. Okay, when you're ready, we're gonna lift back up into a wide leg stance, arms overhead, and prayer arms as we heel toe the legs together. When you're ready, bring the arms up and overhead. Come into prayer arms as we drop our hips all the way down into a nice yogi squat. Bring your left hand on top of your left foot and open up and twist towards the right. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Drop your hand to cover your right foot and twist that left arm up and over. You can even hinge to bring the left hand on your right hip. We can go ahead and bring our attention to our palms, dropping them to the top of the mat and stepping back into our downward facing dog in a nice clean motion. Keep the hips strong, send them up and back as we bend the leg generously and come into our tabletop. Send the hips back and rest into child's pose. Take a couple deep breaths here. Inhale and exhale. Doing great. On an inhale, come back up to tabletop. We're going to curl the toes under and we're going to send the hips up and back into our downward facing dog. Square the shoulders, strong core as we lift that right leg back up. Hold it for 1 second, bend that leg and move as if you're going to kiss your nose with your knee. Step up into a high lunge, open up into warrior two, chest open, a generous bend in the front leg, and we send it back into peaceful warrior. Nice job, keeping that chest open at all times, not crunching and collapsing through the side. We come into a side angle. Nice. And pivot on that back leg, taking the arms up and twisting towards that right leg. Generous bend in the front leg as we come into a peaceful warrior variation, just as we did before. Gently resting the right hand on that back leg, and we take it down, left palm connecting with the mat as we twist towards the right leg. Come onto the side edge of that left foot, and we twist and reach our arms as if we're reaching towards our toes. Lovely. We're moving a bit faster here, getting the heart rate up. Position your foot diagonally to set up for warrior two. Bend that front knee generously. And we're going to pivot on that back leg. Arms up and over. Come into a high lunge. We're going to drop the palms back on the mat. Send that right leg back. Heels down. And we're back into our downward facing dog. One moment here, and then we're going to lift up on the left leg. Bend that left leg. Kiss the nose with the knee. Pivot on that back leg as we open up to warrior two. Drop the hand. We're coming to peaceful warrior. Generous bend in that front leg. Take a breath here and pivot on that back leg. Coming into a high lunge and twisting towards that left leg. Stay with me. Drop the back hand. Rest it on your leg. And we come into that peaceful warrior variation once again. Have a generous bend in that front leg, deepen the pose, and drop the right hand towards the mat, twisting towards that left leg. Drop the hip, come to rest on the sharp edge of that right foot, reach the hands towards the back foot, and then pivot on that leg, coming back into your warrior two, opening up through the chest. Good job. Take a breath, pivot on that back leg, come into your high lunge once again. Drop the arms and send it back into your downward facing dog. Good job. We're almost there. Take a deep breath. Inhale And as you exhale, walk your feet towards your palms, towards the top of the mat. Baby steps until you're in a nice forward fold. Palms on the mat, and slowly you're going to move them to a half forward fold. Rest your palms on your knees, and then we send them back down. Drop the head and back up. Rest your hands on your knees, and drop your hands back down. And from here, we're going to take a big breath. Arms come up and overhead. Palms to the heart. We've made it to the end of our practice. Take a moment to study your breath. Reflect on how you're feeling. Inhale and exhale. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me. Thank you for allowing me to lead you in this practice. I will see you in the next video. Namaste.